What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, okay? By extension, we'll probably talk about the whole crypto markets as well. Here we are at 81.7K, plummeting. We're down 5% today, an extension of yesterday's move. A lot of people are anticipating, and I'm certainly thinking that the reason why people are selling today, unlike what most people think, I don't think it's because of the tariffs. I don't think that this dump is happening because of the tariffs. Maybe up here it happened because of the tariffs, or maybe up here it happened because of the tariffs. No, right now it's happening because of fear of the tariffs, and they are enacted. We do have 25% tariffs versus Canada and Mexico and China, and Canada has already announced 25% retaliatory tariffs. Mexico has not done anything yet, to my knowledge, but they're planning to. I think Canada's planning on adding to what they're doing in like the next 21 days or something like that. I read if things escalate in these tariff wars, these trade wars. The reason why the tariffs have come in, it's speculative, but in my opinion, as far as just going off of the facts, going off of what the person who placed the tariffs and acted these tariffs is saying his reason is, Trump said that it's because he wasn't pleased. He didn't believe that Mexico and Canada held up their end of the bargain. It wasn't sufficient enough with border security and stopping drug trafficking into the United States. So that's his reasoning for this. My thoughts, if that's his reasoning, are that this is a matter of principle. It's not a matter of negotiation at this point. So he's laying these tariffs on to show he means business. My thoughts on this, again, it's not that the tariffs are in place that we're selling today. It's that people are afraid of what the tariffs might imply. The big money with all the big volume, they sold already, right? The tariff scare is priced in. If you're expecting the price to go to zero now that the tariffs are real, my question is why is today at such a slower start compared to yesterday? How come we dumped so much more yesterday and we're not moving as far today? How can we have less volume? Now there's 8 hours 36 minutes left in the day. We absolutely can turn the speed around, pump up from here, and we absolutely could continue to drop. Who knows? Maybe this is the biggest red day that we've seen all cycle. But my expectation is that the price is already priced in for this negatively received news, right? I think of it as like a very bullish event, a highly anticipated event that you're waiting on, like the ETFs, right? The price was pumping for months before the ETF news came out that we had Bitcoin ETFs, for the first cryptocurrency ETF ever in history in the United States. And then as soon as we got the ETFs, Bitcoin dumped. It literally on January 11th, 2024, dumped pretty hard. It pumped shortly thereafter, but it was a sell the news event, right? And this is that same kind of thing. This is not new. We weren't blindsided by these tariffs. Right? This is something that we were aware of back in the beginning of February. It got pushed back to this date. It's something that everybody was aware of. And perhaps that's why we moved sideways. Perhaps the market, the people who are in charge of the markets, the rich people, the entities, the institutions, whatever, if you want to make a story out of it, maybe they were waiting to see the insiders with information to if Trump is pleased with Canada and Mexico's efforts or displeased. That might have been the reason for the early sell-off. Make no mistake that this negative news came out after the move happened, right? Show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. If we were moving up, I'm sure that the tariffs, I'm sure there would have been some kind of cooperative efforts and there would have been no tariffs placed, right? But that's probably why we've dumped down here. I would equate it to a bullish buy the hype, sell the news event, except in this case it is a bearish sell the hype or the de-hype and buy the news event. Here we are on the day that the tariffs are being released. I very much expect that if we go lower today at all, today will be the low. It's already priced in, you guys. It's already priced in is essentially what I'm trying to say. So if anybody's afraid of what this means for the markets coming or going forward, just understand that's not necessarily how the markets work. People with more money than most of us watching this, people with higher levels of sophistication in market trends and trading, with a degree higher than most people who are watching this and most of us involved in the markets, they understand how this stuff works. They have foresight. They make these moves ahead of time. Now, often, right? Sometimes things catch people offside and it's a total blindside, and that's where we get black swan events or crazy pumps like yesterday, right? But, you know, if anybody wants to say this is market manipulation, I mean, I'm not going to deny that there's any kind of manipulation going on. I mean, I'm sure there is, but really, I think it's a wave of emotions. People were excited about Trump announcing that we're having a crypto strategic reserve, and then the day before the tariffs, it seems as though they're really serious. But this is something that's been looming over us for a while. Again, it's already priced in. That's the main point I'm trying to address. Let's move on, okay? Let's move on and actually do some TA. That's just my perspective, right? If anybody has a problem with that, if anybody thinks that I'm being too political, I don't know how. I'm just because I'm talking about things that are actually happening in the real world, that are actually affecting the markets or have already affected the markets, does not make me politically charged. I am politically charged, but I'm trying to hold back, you guys. I'm trying to hold back, okay? But none of this was politically charged. It's just the move might be somewhat politically driven, so we're talking about it, right? Here we are. Here we are at a lower low on the daily basis, right? If we had a low here on a closing basis, we are just below that there. We have higher lows in the RSI right here, higher lows in the RSI. We are in a downtrend overall, and we've hit the oversold zone already. Whenever you have higher lows, that is bullish divergence. Whenever you're in a downtrend, you've hit your oversold zone, and you have bullish divergence, the last thing in your mind should be that we are going to fall through the floor. This is an immense opportunity to buy. Look at that. We're already moving up. We're probably going to continue to move up through the rest of the day. That's my thoughts. As America wakes up, as the world wakes up, and I mean, most of the world's already awake, people get to panic sell and all that stuff. As that's all taken care of and done, the markets will begin to recover. And I think by the end of this day, we will start to see some recovery and going into tomorrow. If you guys are sick of this volatility already, just you wait, man. It's it's not done yet. We've got higher prices to go. You know, for a while, I was convinced, not convinced, but I was definitely entertaining. Even up here, I was entertaining the idea that we could still go below 74K if we didn't get above 96.3. If it held as resistance and we were to come, you know, back down to these levels, I certainly would have back here. No question in my head at all. Would have thought that we would go down to 78K or below. We would have gone lower, 74K, 69K, stuff like that. But the fact that we're only here at a higher low, and the worst has happened, right? We've got the news came out. It's been realized. This tells me it's priced in. It's already priced in, you guys. We've got bullish divergence on the daily time frame. If today closes green, there's no bullish divergence, but hey, we'll be breaking out of this uptrend nonetheless. If we're looking at this here from an overall high to an overall low, we fell just shy of the golden ratio. Oftentimes, this is what you see whenever things are being front ran. And whenever talking about manipulation, you know, oftentimes this is actually kind of that look, because oftentimes you will hit the golden ratio. You don't normally get this close and then miss it unless there is some kind of coordinated effort or very strong selling pressure, or a little bit of both. Of course, we did find resistance here on a price perspective at prior areas of support. There's logic to be made out of that too. But missing the golden ratio at any degree, reaching for it and missing it like this, oftentimes you do pull back to the 236. Sometimes you even go lower, and here we are in that sometimes kind of moment. But this move down happened with the least amount of volume, right? These last 2 days have been very small amounts of volume in comparison to what happened whenever we moved down here, right? That was a lot of volume. It's already priced in, you guys. That's what I'm trying to tell you, okay? Likely what we do if we are to move lower, I think that 80K holds. I don't think that it breaks. I actually am under the impression that we don't go lower now. More confident about that here than I've been over the last week, that we are not going to go lower than these lows. Now that I've said that, we can finally drop through the floor and find our low. No, but that's probably not going to happen. I think that we are going to move up. I think that the next target area is the same target area we had back here, and that is $96.3 to $98.6 thousand. However, now that we've interacted with this golden ratio a little bit, we found resistance just below it. I would anticipate that this next move could take us, and likely does take us, through 100K. Now, is it going to be a straight shot to new all-time highs? Maybe. It could happen. Crypto's crazy, you guys. It could definitely happen, especially when all this fear goes away. And all it takes for the fear to go away. It's not good news. It's not bad news. That's driving the fear. It's the price. If the price goes up and we had bad news, I promise you nobody's going to care about the bad news. Rationality might come back into the markets, or irrationality in the other direction. But either way, I fully expect that Bitcoin's on its way from here, from 82.4K. I might be the only person saying this right now on YouTube. I don't know. I should probably watch more YouTubers, but I don't think that we're going below 80K again. I think we're going to, sitting here at 82.4K, I think it's a bold call to say I think we are more likely to break above $100,000 from this point than we are to break below 80K. And if I'm wrong, let's talk about that. If I'm wrong, and I can be wrong, I've been wrong before, you guys, I'll be wrong again. If I am wrong, 74.2K, 69.4K, this area is likely where we would bottom. So whether we do this now, or we go down first, we find support down here, and then we do this later, we're still going up. We're still going to see new all-time highs. The bull market is anything but dead, you guys, okay? Everybody's wanting to blame Trump and his administration for this dump. And you know, I can see where that logic would come into play because of the tariffs, but at the same time, I don't know if it's necessarily fair or appropriate to blame Trump for this. I would blame fear. I genuinely would blame fear, and maybe over here, insider information on the stuff that's going on. People probably selling it ahead of time, right? It's really it's the big dogs, the people who have a lot of money, the institutions who are aware of the dynamics in the political space right now in the markets that are preemptively selling and making moves. I guarantee you those same people that made these preemptive moves, they're buying it up down here. You know what I mean? If they're not buying it here, they're going to buy it lower, or they're doing both. They're buying it at various prices. But I would say that it's kind of ironic. It's kind of hypocritical because all the people who are blaming Trump for this down here, none of them are going to give Trump credit for whenever it pumps, because even though we've got the tariffs, and that's a big deal to some degree, right? It makes a good dramatic piece for the media. The real story, don't get mistaken, guys. Don't forget, the real story is the United States just started a crypto arms race across the world. Okay, we have announced the first crypto strategic reserve in United States history. Okay, this is not a bearish thing, and if anything, it's only causing this kind of price. I promise you, if Trump announced on this day that the United States has a Bitcoin strategic reserve which incorporates XRP, Cardano, Solana, Ethereum, and Bitcoin, if that's what he's announced, I promise you that this price action like this, America's buying more. Countries around the world are buying more. Institutional players are buying more. The only people selling are people who don't know what they're doing, right? The people who do know what they're doing, the people who everybody's upset that they're quote unquote manipulating the markets. Guess what, guys? They're going to manipulate it back up. They're buying it right here. It's not going to go lower. But that's just an assumption. That's just a theory, right? I don't have anything to factually back that up. I feel like I'm thinking logically here, but maybe I'm not. Time will tell. We'll see how it goes. And even if I'm wrong, again, everything's fine. Again, that same logic can be applied at these lows, and it's still going to pump the price massively. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the upside now that we've gotten through all the shenanigans, all the semantics here. And I want to look at the shorter term RSIs and stuff and see if we can figure some stuff out. Of course, indicators go out the window if manipulation is actually taking place. 120K to 134K, this is our primary target zone at the 1272 to the 1618. I would fully expect that we are here by the end of March, if not even maybe in the next couple of weeks, you guys. It's going to be phenomenal. Right? Whenever all this fear goes away, we're going to have an immediate sigh of relief that just takes us to the upside. Afterwards, going into April, I'm assuming that we are going to have prices somewhere in this area. I would expect we don't stop below 152K. I would assume we don't reach 187K, but rather we stop somewhere in between. I'm in favor of this 170K area. It's very common with the 2272 whenever you interact with it to go just above it. So something in the 170K area is what I'm anticipating by the end of this move overall, not by the end of the cycle. What do I mean by the end of the move? I just mean the same thing as we did over here, right? We moved up. This was the end of the move. Is this the end of the cycle? No. I mean, to some people it is. We're moving down now. This was the end of that downward move. We moved sideways. This was the next move down, right? What's the next move up going to be? It's going to take us, I mean, potentially up to about 130K. We might consolidate a little bit in March, and then the rest of the end of March going into April and ending April, I would expect that this move overall from here, before we see our next kind of semi-long consolidation phase, it'll be at about 150 to 170K. But I think actually 152K to 170K personally. It could go higher. You never know. Anything can happen. Bullish divergence on the daily time frame as of now. Let's look at the 4-hour time frame. Let's look at some shorter time frames and wrap this thing up, okay? So here we are. looking to break below any of these lows, and look at all the volume we have down here, right? On a daily basis, it's insignificant, but on a 4-hour basis, this is one of the most high level volume areas that we've had, and we are doing anything but going lower. Isn't that kind of odd? Isn't that kind of strange that now that the news is out, that we have the tariffs and that everybody's waking up and they can panic sell, that we're not going anywhere and we're actually holding our ground at prior areas of support back here? Isn't that crazy how that happens? From a low to a high, we are literally doing what we've done so many times this week across the board, you guys. This 786 bounce, it's ridiculous. You guys know what this means, right? Do I have to tell you? All right, I'm gonna tell you, for anybody that missed it the last week, that we've identified the same thing happening across the space like probably 10 different times, genuinely. Over the past 3 days, it's ridiculous. It's making me laugh. I'm spending so much time talking about it right now because how ridiculously common this is, right? And I haven't heard anybody else talk about it, right? We've noticed it here, and it's just a very obvious thing that we are tipping these 786s, 886 areas sometimes. And what would trigger this to pump, what would trigger a pump right here, would be if we can close above the golden ratio. On a 4-hour basis, the next 4-hour candle would be nice. The next one after that, as long as it happens actually, I would say by the end of today. If today we can close above, in other words, guys, if we can close above 84.3K today, I want you to understand what that means. There will be nothing shy of a brilliant, magnificent bounce. It might not be of this same exact magnitude, but it will still be magnificent and take us carrying on to tomorrow, the rest of the week. It's going to take us all the way up at least to 90K at a bare minimum. This kind of bounce almost always goes to the 236, if not to new relative highs, okay? If we find resistance at 90K and then we come back down and we break below 84.3K, then I will turn bearish again. I will accept defeat and say that 74K to 69K is on the table. If we pull up to the golden ratio and we find resistance here and we can't get above it, and then we come back down to the 786, we break through the 886, I will accept defeat. If we break through 80K, you guys, I will accept defeat that we are going to 74K to 69K. But breaking through is not the same as wicking through, right? We have to close below it. Same thing with the golden ratio here. If you can close above $84.3 thousand on a 4-hour basis, I think I'd be okay with that. But just by the end of today, if today can close there or higher, that would be very encouraging. In fact, what would not be encouraging, and why I say the end of the day should close here, is because the longer that we take without closing above there, generally that implies that this is not a 786 miraculous bounce, but rather continuation of a move down. So you do want to see this close above the golden ratio happen rather quickly. By the end of the day, because if the day closes here, if this next 4-hour candle closes above the golden ratio, but then the day closes below, that means we got above and got below. Same thing, that's a bad thing. You want to maintain readings. Once you get above here, you don't want to go back below. It's okay if you close above the golden ratio and then wick below. It's okay if that happens, but you need to be closing above the golden ratio. If you're not, we're going to go lower. And everything that I'm anticipating to the upside is wrong, and that can happen, right? Hit the like button and subscribe if you like it when I'm wrong. Hit the like button and subscribe if you like it when I'm right. I don't know, man. I'm just trying to get some likes on the video, man. That's all. That's some fishing for likes right there. We're definitely going to move up, though. Absolutely. We've got higher lows in the 4-hour RSI right here. If we see this here, we've got double bullish divergence right there that's playing out, that's already played out. Finding support right here in this uptrend of the RSI. Getting overbought and not getting oversold, even in the wake of the Tariff news, it's not a bad thing. I promise you, it's anything but bad, you guys. You look at the 1-hour time frame, 1-hour RSI, same thing. Look at that. We got deeply overbought, continuously overbought. Here, we got oversold for a little bit, don't get me wrong, but we found a double bottom. We found another double bottom right off the oversold zone. This is a very powerful setup to send us higher. Certainly right now, we are in a rather precarious situation, and this illustrates what I was just saying. We need to make a move up in a very short amount of time, because if not, the longer that we stay down here, in fact, the worse that the reading looks, the less productive it looks, and the more likely we are just going to get deeper readings in the oversold zone. So this needs to happen over, by the end of today, essentially. I want to look at the 15-minute time frame and just see too. I mean, look at that, guys. Like you're uptrending in your RSI, you're downtrending in your price. We're moving up, y'all. We're gonna move up, and we'll see how it goes. But a lot of volume came here. The most volume on this 15-minute time frame, it came in right at the lows, literally at the lows, and it was the least movement that we saw. The low is in. We're not moving lower. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I think that's it. I got nothing else to say. If you guys like the content, hit that subscribe button, like the video. I will see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. And if you sold, I mean, just understand you're literally selling at probably the worst price to sell. The next month, the next 2 months, the next 3 months are going to be phenomenal. There's a lot of bullish framework coming out over the next 60 days, 60 to 70 days. And just, around the end of April, we're probably going to have some sell the news events coming in, and that's to get sell the news events, you have to have buy the hype events coming into play, right? If you're not paying attention to what's going on, you're going to miss the very serious narratives that are going to allow this thing to pump. Okay, Trump has appointed a task force for crypto that is supposed to make an announcement before May, or at least before the first week of May. They're supposed to make an announcement on crypto that provides friendly crypto regulatory framework, okay, that is easy and clear to understand, okay. This kind of information, by the way, I think once it comes out will cause a sell the news event. We will move down. Ultimately, I think regulations are bad for crypto. They're good for the companies in crypto. They're good for the people who are lobbying for regulations, right? The rich corporations and institutions of the world, but they're not good for the people, right? Crypto is better free. It's better unregulated, in my opinion. It's more wild, and I kind of like that personally, but to each their own. If you disagree with me, that's okay. I can be wrong. But that's just how I see it. There is some regulatory framework coming out by the end of April, if not certainly the first week of May, and it's supposed to be very bullishly leaning. Everybody who's paying attention to this, everybody who's aware of this, understands what this is going to mean for the next 2 months, okay? And even if they're not paying attention to it, you can see it in the charts. The charts are anything. I know it seems bearish right now, guys, but I'm telling you this, if we were at lower lows today, if we were continuing to drop, if volume was picking up, I would be scared. This would be a different tone in my voice. But we're not. We've just moved up. We were at the lows in the beginning of this video. I'm telling you, I got brass balls of steel here, guys. We're at the lows, and I'm telling you that I'm not afraid of it going down. In the whole video, it's literally just moving its way up. I would love it. It would be the most ironic, not even the most ironic, but it would just be an absolute slap in the face if the next 4 hours, 8 hours goes by and we're just down at 74K. I will not hide. I will not hide in a hole at all, man. I will be back out here a little bit ashamed of myself for how confident I am, and then I will have to humble myself down at these lows if they come. I'm not saying that because I think that they will happen. I'm saying that because if they do happen, it's not a selling price. It's not a price to panic at. It's actually the most ideal buying opportunity we would have had in over half a year. So it's a good thing. It really is a good thing. I know people want to see the price go up, but also everybody up here wishes that they bought Bitcoin when it was down below 70K, wishes they bought it below 60K. You're going to have that opportunity to buy below 80K again. That's a really good opportunity, especially if you believe in the future prospects of Bitcoin and crypto, which inevitably Bitcoin's going to be worth so much money, you guys, millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars. It can hit more than that. Probably not in my lifetime, but it depends on hyperinflation and all that kind of stuff. But one thing's for certain, the dollar will print infinitely. There will always be more dollars. There's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoins. Nothing will beat the math. Numbers don't lie, guys. Bitcoin will take over. It is the world. It's going to become the world's reserve, and it's starting now. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you guys want to see more content like this. I appreciate you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.